This is In Wheel Time, Houston's #1 car talk show, live here on SportsMap 94.1 FM. Today's in-studio guest, Houston's classic and antique car expert, originally from the hot rod mecca of the Northeast, Long Island, New York, Mr. Ron Stien. We have new car reviews of the GMC Arcadia and the Infiniti QX50. We'll also have our regular features, Ram Tracks and Jeep Trails, along with this week's automotive news headlines. It's all just ahead on today's In Wheel Time car show for Saturday, June 2nd, 2018. Today's show is powered by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and by Jeep. The Jeep Celebration event is the perfect time to get out and celebrate capability, efficiency, connectivity, and more in a new Jeep brand vehicle. Hurry into your local dealer now to experience freedom and adventure in a way that only a Jeep can deliver, and get a great deal. Good morning to you, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, and King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us on this beautiful, unofficial summer day.
Unofficial? Oh, it's not until the 21st. It's summer, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See, once again, there you go.
Thinking.
Not thinking, and not trusting me. Of course, I wouldn't trust me either. Mr. Mars?
Howdy, sir.
How are you doing?
I am wonderful.
Well, it's good to see you again. Last week we kind of cheated.
We did.
Because you, sir, were off gallivanting to the family reunion in Oklahoma. Conrad and I were left here to fend for ourselves and just look at each other, and we thought, nah. Let's not do that. We had a great show down there at Keels and Wheels and had a great interview with a guy by the name of Kip Wasinko, who was part of the design team for General Motors for decades, who actually knew Bill Mitchell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
And it was a fascinating interview, and so I was out and about, and I was listening to it on the radio.
As was I.
And what a great interview. We need to have him on for a 2-hour show.
Well, I think we have contact information. We may want to drop him a line and see.
Yeah, but at any rate, obviously a font of information. And really an interesting interview. And that was just part of it. It was a 2-hour. We took 2 out of the 3 hours and aired that last weekend. I hope everybody enjoyed that. But we're live and in living color here in the Uptown studios of Gow Communications and SportsMap 94.1 FM. And in the studio with us today, direct from Long Island, New York.
No, that's Long Island.
And he just winged in from LaGuardia.
His arms are tired.
Mr. Ron Stien.
Good morning. Here we are. I winged in about 30 years ago. So
well, whatever the case may be.
I'm not quite a Texan yet, and LaGuardia was a little different when I left.
I'm sure it was. But
was it even called LaGuardia?
It was called LaGuardia, but they still had some of the old DC-3s coming in there. And they built, on the DC-3s, you could always tell the ones that had to come into LaGuardia because the mail door on the rear of the plane had to be configured.
No, that's not the M-A-L-E. That's the M-A-I-L.
Right.
Okay, just checking.
We can't be sexist here. We have to have.
We can be, but we're not supposed to.
I hear you. They had to be reconfigured because of the way the terminal was laid out. To unload the mail, they had to have the mail door on the other side of the plane, not to confuse with the passenger unloading, because you had to go actually on the tarmac. You had to come down the DC-3, and you had to walk on the tarmac.
That was a tail dragger, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, tail dragger, low but slow, and real cool plane. I helped restore a DC-3 for Continental Airlines.
Design the DC-3.
No. Well, I'm that age, I probably could have. But there was a DC-3 we restored for Continental Airlines, the original configuration, and we flew it to Oshkosh after the air show.
Oh, cool.
A thrill.
Oshkosh would be a blast.
Oh, it was a thrill. It was a thrill.
Well, that's not what we're here for.
No, we're talking about cars.
We are. And I got some inside information just before we went on the air that Mr. Stien has a new steed in the stable.
Yes, I do.
And he told me that, what was I thinking? Those were his words.
Well, not only what was I thinking, but I finally made a decision after I have a number of cars that I would never buy a car at night and never buy a car in the rain And in Houston, never buy a non-air conditioned car. All my cars do not have air conditioning.
And you bought this one with all three of those things?
No. I didn't buy this one at night, but I did buy it non-air conditioned. And I'm contemplating putting air conditioning. It's a 1956 Continental Mark II coupe.
How cool is that?
One of 2,800 made in 56 and 57. So kind of a rare car. The car originally cost $10,000 in 56.
Oh, my God.
You could buy a Cadillac and two Chevys at that time for the price of that car. We've got a list of everybody, the who's who of America and overseas, who actually purchased that car. It's like Van Cleef and Arpels and the Schaefer Company and some judges and athletes.
Wow, so
Schaefer,
Elvis Presley. Mattress Mac had his car. He bought Elvis Presley's car and he displayed it in his showroom on 45.
Wow.
Yeah, he asked me actually to authenticate it, which I did. And there was a rumor that Elvis Presley, it wouldn't start one day, and he took his pistol and shot through the hood.
I've heard that story.
And I authenticated it, and I raised the hood, and that was a patch by the battery on the passenger side, which authenticated. The numbers matched. It was the only Mark II ever built with a leather headliner. And, of course, it was all...
What color is it?
It was white. White.
And the interior?
It was a pale blue.
Was?
Yeah, and I asked Mac, I said, why did you buy this car? He said, I just wanted to sit in the same seat that Elvis sat in. And he didn't want to go to the auction in Auburn, Indiana. So he sent his secretary, who everybody knew. So, of course, he paid a premium for the car. And when he asked me to authenticate it, I was...
He paid another premium.
No, I didn't charge him anything. He was amazed. Anyway, he said...
So you saved him money.
Well, he just wanted to know, and I asked him, if this is not Elvis's car, do you want me to tell you that it wasn't? He says, definitely, because I will go after the auction people. And it was. I mean, all the numbers matched, and the thing that really, put the icing on the cake was the bullet hole in the hood. You couldn't tell it from the top. But underneath, you could see the patch underneath. There was no Bondo. It was actually welded a piece of metal.
Now, have you managed to move stuff around in your vast garage over there in Southwest Houston to make a place for this?
That's a very moot point, and that's one of the sticking points. You picked it up right away, Don.
I have the same problem, so I know.
Yeah, but you don't have 12 cars.
No, I don't.
So
that's true. I have two.
Yeah, well.
One of which is in the garage, and it should be just the other way around. The Corvette should be in the garage, and the Corvair should be out in the driveway, but it's not.
Well, you're the C's. You're still with the C's. Corvette,
yeah,
Corvair. Yeah. The next one will be maybe a Cadillac.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
So at any rate, where is the new?
It's still in the. It's a club member's car that I know from the Lincoln Club. And
so it's his place.
It's his place in Spring.
Nice. You get to buy the car, and he gets to store it for you.
I wish it was full time, but it's not.
Is it running?
It is running, and it's partially restored.
Partially.
Yeah. When you buy a car, as well, you guys know. There's never a car that you buy that you don't have to do something with, either intentional or a missed detail. But that's the fun of it.
On the partial restoration,
yes.
Are the cosmetics done and it's the mechanicals that need work, or the other way around?
No. It's been painted. All the chrome has been done. The engine compartment is gorgeous. If you look interior, there looks like spaghetti underneath the dashboard. That all has to be hooked up to the gauges, which is something that I don't really like to do because you're upside down,
feet in the
and
air.
You can't see.
I ain't doing none of that.
And you have to do the splicing the wires and the color coding. So I've got a guy in the Triumph Club who's a genius as far as when it comes to electrical.
What is it about those kind of guys?
It's a Triumph.
It's a Triumph. And God forbid there's
to be good because the factory electrics are horrible.
Well, Lucas, that's why they drink warm beer in England, because they couldn't figure out the refrigeration. And Lucas, Prince of Darkness, and that's a common known thing.
Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, that's a label that we give them, the Brits. Yeah,
and rightly so, because you own one.
I do. I do. I've got I got 3 British cars.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, so what's the fascination with your British cars?
Well, I think it started early on. I had an MGA. I started with an MGA, my first British car, when I was in high school, And from that, I just sort of acquired the taste of leaking oil and electrical problems. You're a glutton for punishment.
It's kind of the challenge to keep them running.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
When they're going good, everything's fine. People.
So you married your cars.
Well, not only that, but people say, "What car is your best car?" I said, "The one that starts, and the one I don't have to move to get another car out."
Now, you still have the Ford.
I have the Woody. I have the Ford Woody, and the car you love is the 37 Ford.
37 Ford.
With the creased fenders in the
Yes,
front and
that's
the headlights.
That's my car. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was telling the story because knowing that you were going to be on the show, so
right.
telling somebody this week, I say, "Oh yeah, Ron Stien's going to be there." And let me tell you the interesting story about how I met Ron Stien.
Right.
I was coming home from this show on a Saturday morning, coming into my neighborhood in Westbury off of Belfort. And I turned the corner, and there is this 37 turquoise blue Ford coupe, and this white-haired guy standing next to it on the phone. I'm thinking, oh, he's broken down. I'm going to stop.
And Don whips out like Superman with his in-wheel time.
Hello, can I help you?
Got his FM voice on?
Yes.
No, so I passed the car, and then I backed up and got out of the car and talked to him, and that's how we met.
Yes.
That's how we met. I don't know how many years ago that was, but many.
Many years ago.
Yeah, and but the fond memories, and so got to see Ron today. He got out of the car, and I think I took him by surprise because I gave him a hug. I haven't seen him in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
that
Has
long.
it been that long?
Yeah. Well, you guys have been busy also doing your different shows. Yeah.
Well, I know we've been on the road a lot.
Our spring is really busy, and fortunately for us, we love it.
Well, and I listen in. You guys are doing a great job. I mean, your venue has expanded to many, many different levels.
Yeah, well,
Thank
I mean,
you.
we've been fortunate, and we invite ourselves basically. Hey,
It's the only way we can go to a party is if we're
here. And guess what? We're on the air.
But the fun thing about it is that we gather up the guests from wherever the show is that we're doing, and it's a fun show.
Well, it's very personable also. Okay, and you meet a lot of great people, and you hear a lot of great stories that normally would go untold.
Right.
Basically.
And that's the fact, is
Yep.
the untold stories, because they're not going to be able to tell you the story until they're sitting there with you
Exactly.
across the table from you. And it's great, some of the stories you get out of folks.
And it's amazing what experiences they've had.
Yeah.
Which they gladly tell. I tell people, if you don't want people to stop you, if you don't want people to wave at you, if you don't want people to have a chat with you, don't get a classic or antique car.
Drive a Camry.
Right, because no matter where you go, my grandmother had one. I always wanted one. I had one in high school, et cetera. Yeah.
Well, and to that end, last Saturday night, I ventured out with the Corvair and took it down to Randy Shannon's Nifty 50s event out there in the Woodlands, and had a great time.
Sure.
And it was really fun. I'd never actually participated in the show. I'd gone, and
but
looked
not
at
as
the
a
other cars,
participant.
right.
Yeah.
And so went in there and parked the car and got out the lawn chairs and sat there. And I had more people come up to me and talk to me about the car.
Sure.
It's pretty amazing. And it's funny because not only other participants in the show, but people stopping by and looking at all the other cars that were on display there. And the fun thing about that show is that there's every kind of car known to man up until, I don't know what it is, 81 or 82, something like that, whatever.
Right.
Randy has the cutoff. And it was fun because there was every kind of car there that you can imagine. Antiques, classics, hot rods,
Muscle.
rat rods,
Right.
resto mods.
It's nice to have it back. 'Cause
It is,
It kind
yeah.
of went away for a while. It's real nice to have
Yeah,
Nifty 50s back.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, have you been out?
I haven't been there in a long time.
Well-
I know Randy for a long time when he first started. Okay,
Right, yeah.
but you've got an unusual car. Okay, it's not a '55 Chevy.
No, that's true.
you don't see that model
it's
car.
funny because a lot of people said that very same thing. I haven't seen one of these things in forever.
Yeah. Or they say, is this the kind that goes in the water with the propellers in the back? Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Right.
No, the propellers on the top of Don's
His
hat.
head. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So Ronnie Stien is our guest in the studio this morning, and we're going to continue our conversation with him at the bottom of the hour. Ron, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming
Nice.
in this
Thank
morning.
you.
Just ahead, we have more stuff for you, including, let me get my cheat sheet here. I didn't write it down. We're going to talk to Angelica Brothers. She's with Hagerty, and Hagerty is sponsoring an event that is coming up at a racetrack. Yeah, Hagerty at a racetrack. Now, this is an insurance company that deals in antiques and classics at a racetrack. You'll want to know about that.
I need a new rider on my insurance.
Exactly. Plus, we're going to have a review of the 2018 GMC Arcadia. That and more just ahead here on the In Wheel Time radio program on Sports Map 94.1 FM. Stay with us. We'll be back after a quick break.
No matter what you do in Texas, you only have one job: to make sure that everyone counting on you always can. The all-new Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and Lone Star are built for Texas. Powered by an available, proven 5.7-liter Hemi V8. For work or play, these are the strongest, most capable, advanced, and luxurious Ram 1500s ever. Ram, built to serve. When properly equipped, Ram and Hemi are registered trademarks of FCA US LLC.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hey, thanks for joining us for today's In Wheel Time radio car show, coming to you live on the all-new Sports Map 94.1 FM. Time now for this hour's car review. We're going to look at the 2018 GMC Arcadia. I had this about, 3 weeks ago or so. Available trim levels are SL, SLE, SLT, and the Denali. And I'll just tell you right now. The SL model, the entry-level GMC Arcadia, is a special order.
So you have to ask for the base car.
Yeah, they don't generally keep them on the lot. So if you want one, then you basically have to go and order one. Why even offer it? Well, I mean, if you're going to do it that way.
Fleet sales, maybe?
No, you're not going to sell Acadias into fleets. Probably, the occasional dealer is going to order one to have the ad car. That's the car that the salesman gets fired if he sells.
Yeah, okay. Well, whatever the case may be, I just thought that it was interesting, and an interesting side note to this story. The review that I did is going to do here is on the SLT2 front-wheel drive. This is classified as a standard SUV, kind of big, kind of not. Up to 7 passengers, depending on seating configuration, and that actually depends on the trim level that you buy. And it's too complicated to go into here, but at any rate, most people will buy something like the SLT1 or the SLT2, which is one step below the Denali. You got all that? It doesn't make any difference. It was completely redesigned last year. Conservative overall design compared to others in its class, or at least some of the others. This new model is smaller than the outgoing model, which is very unusual
because everybody's going bigger.
Right, because you get a brand or a trim level or a model, and let's make it bigger. So this way, it's not. It's smaller. Sharp-looking, bold front-end design. The darker colors seem to add a bit of sophistication to the overall look of it. I'm not sure why, but it just does. What I liked about it, I like the conservative modern design. I think it hits a sweet spot, and it's a SUV for most everybody. They're gonna like it, and I think that's basically what this is all about. Interior highlights: very GM, straight line designs, nothing swoopy in the interior, no swoopy things on the dash, nothing like that. I love the cloth seats, and I love the design of them, and I like the texture of them because I'm big on cloth seats. I know, old school. But I wouldn't be that way if we didn't live in 105 degree sweltering heat.
Getting a hot car on a leather seats unless you got your leather pants on.
Which means for you that leaves you out of the Denali, and we're not even going to talk about leather pants.
Let's talk about leather pants.
Is that an option?
Because Denali's leather only, so you'd have to be in the SLT.
Interior industrial type styling, perfect for parents with active children. That was my take on it anyway. It does have a small third row leg room back there in the back. if you opt for the third row. And it's going to be even small for small kids on long trips. Fine to take them to soccer practice, but on long trips, I think they're going to be a little bit cramped back there. What I liked about it, I liked the industrial look. Kind of like a Kelvinator.
They crisped the lines up, straightened it up. It's not as swoopy as it was.
Yeah. And I think that's probably a good thing, because while everybody else is going to the swoopy stuff, they're staying with or actually going back to the more straight line look. And I think there's a real market for that. 3.6 liter V6, 310 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque, 6-speed automatic transmission. If you want to tow something, you can tow up to 2 tons with it. Miles per gallon, 18 city, 25 highway, 21 combined. I got 22. V6 is a perfect match. They offer a 4-cylinder. I wouldn't get it.
It's a turbo for it too, isn't it?
I don't know. I didn't even do the research on it. But this is a fairly large vehicle, and it weighs more than a 4-cylinder is worth putting in it. So I would stick with the V6.
Particularly if you want to haul a little bit of anything.
Exactly. What I liked about it, great manners for ride and handling in the city and highway. What could use improvement? The steering is a little bit over-assisted for the highway, but great for grocery store parking lots. So if you're good with that, so am I. Base model price, $29,995. That's for the SL that you have to special order. The base trim is $41,860. Mine, price is tested, $45,725. Now, the base price, if you'll remember, $29,995. So competitors at that level, Chevy Traverse, $29,930, Dodge Durango, $29,995, and the Toyota Highlander for $30,630.
They're all right there.
Yeah, but you don't have to special order all of those to get
well,
that price.
It is a GMC. So, they're
should be a step up.
It is a step up from a Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely.
There you have it. All right. Coming up next, if you dare, you can. Well, let me just say this. We're going to have Angelica Brothers and our Hagerty Extreme experience that they're offering. We'll talk to her about that coming up next. But if you dare, you can see our live broadcast on Facebook, facebook.com/InWheelTime. All right here from the Gow Mega Media Empire and the all-new SportsMap 94.1 FM.
There's a moment in your bones when
At the Jeep Celebration event, it's time to celebrate the most awarded and best-selling SUV lineup. Take in the fresh air with the Jeep brand's freshest lineup of SUVs, including the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the reimagined Jeep Cherokee. Help make each day one for the books with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Soak up some sun through Jeep Renegade's available MySky open-air dual-panel roof. And freedom is always at your fingertips at a Jeep Compass, offering the most technology and connectivity in its class. Because no matter where your imagination takes you, Jeep vehicles were made to get you there. Hurry into your dealer now and get a great deal at the Jeep Celebration event. Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Jeep SUV brand have received more awards over their lifetime than any other SUV or SUV brand, based on total Q1 2018 SUV sales, based on compact SUV segmentation. OEM website AutoKnowledge. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Hey, thanks for joining us for this morning's In Wheel Time radio program, Houston's most important car talk show. You're on SportsMap 94.1 FM and streaming live right now on Facebook. And joining us on the line from Hagerty Insurance, Angelica Brothers. Angelica, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
How are you?
Nice to talk to you.
I know, it's good to talk to you. You doing okay?
I'm doing great.
You sound like you just got out of bed.
No way. I've been up since like 5 in the morning.
Okay,
usual.
all right.
I would never do that.
Okay, we didn't want to wake you.
No, of course. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, we're trying to be the nice guys here. So Hagerty Extreme Experience. You know, when I think of Hagerty and expensive, exotic, collectible cars and stuff like that, I'm thinking, well, how does that work? You know, insurance, car wrecks. We don't want any of that. So how did you manage to marry these two things?
So this is part of our Hagerty Plus member benefits. Don, you probably have it. So Hagerty Plus is our roadside assistance program, which is awesome.
Right.
And if you're a member, you get the wonderful magazine every 2 months, among many other things.
Which, by the way, I really like that magazine. It needs to be a monthly.
It's good, right?
Yeah, very good.
It is. So we partnered up with Extreme Experience to give members discounts if they wanted to participate. So that's actually happening today in Angleton, and I'm going to be driving 911 for the first time ever, so I'm super excited about that. I'm going to be doing that at 1 o'clock.
The 911 GT3?
I don't know all the details, but I will make sure to post pictures on Facebook, so
good.
I'll keep you updated.
Please
so
do,
I'm very excited.
So this is are there going to be other people there other than just the Hagerty folks?
Yeah, so this is open to everybody, but we did send out an email to all of the members that were in the area, which we are, I think, over 10,000 in the Houston area. So everybody, I mean, a lot of people signed up for it. And this is just one of those deals that you get if you're a Hagerty member. So you're going to get the emails. We're planning on doing other member experience events in the Houston area and in the Texas area, hopefully before the end of the year. But there are other benefits that you get for being a Hagerty.
Are you still there? Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm here.
Okay.
And some of them are discounts for tires and different things that, you know.
Yeah. You mentioned Angleton. Did you mean to say Hitchcock?
Yes, sorry, Hitchcock.
Okay, because it's a Grand Sports Speedway, and I had to ask the guys, I said, where is Grand Sports Speedway? They said, oh, that's down Hitchcock. Why do I not know about Grand Sports Speedway?
Well, they really don't do a lot of events down there other than private events like this and driving schools. It's not like MSR where it's something new every weekend.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I guess just Google Grand Sports Speedway, and that'd be the easiest way to do it. Get the location and head on down there. That'd be a fun event for a Saturday. Yeah. Well, it's all
fun to watch.
Yeah, it's always great to talk to you. And we need to have you in here, and we need to talk about, just the thought of talking about car insurance is really like boring. But
well, thanks, Don. But let's have her in for 2 hours.
Yeah. But Angelica makes it interesting because we get to ask the questions that you don't normally ask the insurance person.
Well, you're not going to ask your State Farm because Hagerty does a very specialized insurance.
Well, and it's funny because I found out that Allstate, my regular car insurance, Allstate, they actually offer Hagerty Insurance. I don't understand how that works, but
we sell directly to the public, but we also rely on our agency partners to sell the Hagerty product, so that's what your Allstate agent can also offer you, the Hagerty.
Yeah, well, see, I wouldn't have known had I not known you. How would I have known that?
I can teach you a lot of stuff about insurance, Don.
I know, and that's why we like to have you in the studio.
And he's so willing to learn.
Angelica,
I know.
Angelica, this is Ron Stien.
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
I was hoping you would still be there.
I'm going to be. I'm here, and also I'm going to talk about the event we had at La Torretta, which Hagerty was a big sponsor about.
Yes,
as far as the youth
that was an awesome event.
Yes, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Angelica,
nice talking to you too.
Yeah.
Angelica, it's great to talk to you. And so the event, what time does this start?
I think it starts at 10 a.m., and the people who have reserved their spots to do the actual driving experience have 30-minute spots reserved already.
All right. So Grand Sports Speedway, get your butts down there is all I can say.
In Hitchcock. I'm going to have to Google the address now since I had it wrong. So thank you for that.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're going to go to Hitchcock instead of Angleton because that's a big difference right there. At any rate,
if you do go to Angleton and you go, tell Sydney we said hi when you get to the
track.
Yeah. Angelica, thank you. It's great to talk to you, and we will talk to you soon.
See you soon, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Angelica Brothers with Hagerty Insurance. Hey, you got a question or comment for us here at In Wheel Time. You can give us a call at 713-439-1560 or email us at info@inwheeltime.com. The car calendar, Conrad's got that.
Well, there's always stuff going on, and it seems like there's more and more stuff going on here as we're rolling into the summer. Galveston Cars and Coffee is June 9th, so that's next weekend, and that's going to be at the Tortuga Mexican Restaurant at 6010 Seaway.
All those Tortugas went out of business.
Well, this one's still there.
Okay.
And then Town Lake Cars and Coffee, which are cars on the lake, is also going to be June 9th, and that's at the Boardwalk in Town Lake, which is Barker Cypress Road over in Cypress.
Hopefully they won't be in the lake.
On the boardwalk. The ATB Car Club Festival in Sugar Land is Sunday, June the 10th, and that's at Constellation Field. And then on June the 16th, the Father's Day Cruise-In with the Conroe Cruisers up at the outlets in Conroe, and we're
working on some technical aspects. We're going to try and be up there with them.
So
really?
We're going to do a live remote and hoping you'll bring out the in-wheel time machine.
Yeah.
And show that. And then June the 30th is the Battleship Texas Car Show, though it's not at the Battleship grounds. It's up at 2100, FM 2100 in Crosby.
Why is it not at the Battleship Texas?
I'm not real sure. Maybe because it's a state park.
Yeah, I think it's state park, and you can't do that.
And you can't get the ship there.
And you can't get the ship there.
Why can't you do it?
All the other shows that I've been to, they do it on the entrance road coming into the park when the park closes.
What a bunch of crap that is.
It's your government at work.
What the
government doesn't work. That's an oxymoron.
If I want to bring my car onto
you can go in the public parking lot, but as far as setting up an official event and saying we're going to take over this parking lot,
so this is up in Crosby, and it's just north.
We need to talk to Dan Patrick. By God,
yes, we do. It's just north of Highway 90 in Crosby.
It's probably an insurance thing, as far as cars and people and
cars and people go into state parks all the time.
But this is probably a specialized. I'm sorry, Don. I don't want to get you in a bad mood.
I'm going to have to go and take a quick break here because
please.
My nerves are on edge.
But we don't want that to happen.
In-wheel time continues after a short break right here on Sports Map 94.1 FM.
No matter what you do in Texas, you only have one job: to make sure that everyone counting on you always can. The all-new Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and Lone Star are built for Texas. Powered by an available, proven 5.7-liter Hemi V8. For work or play, these are the strongest, most capable, advanced, and luxurious Ram 1500s ever. Ram, built to serve. When properly equipped, Ram and Hemi are registered trademarks of FCA US LLC.
Is my kid in the right car seat? I guess she is.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear-facing, forward-facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
From the all-new Sports Map 94.1 FM, it's In-Wheel Time, Houston's most popular weekly award-winning Saturday morning car talk show. Thanks for joining us. Today's In-Wheel Time is powered by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and by Jeep. The Jeep Celebration event is the perfect time to get out and celebrate capability, efficiency, connectivity, and more in a new Jeep Ram vehicle. Hurry into your local dealer now to experience freedom and adventure in a way that only a Jeep can deliver and get a great deal. Good morning to you, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, and Keith Conrad along. I'm Don Armstrong. In the studio with us today is Ron Stien. That irks me. If that's really the case, you can't organize an event of cars and go down there. But you could organize all of your family reunion with all of their hoopties and bring them down there, and that's a different deal.
It's a government regulation or a state regulation, probably.
Well, either that or they have a sponsor up in Crosby that wants to support it. But then why call it the Battleship Texas Car Show? But
maybe if they made a donation.
Golly, we just need to get them on the phone and ask them.
Maybe if they
anybody who knows them, have them give us a call.
Maybe if they made a donation toward the Battleship Texas, maybe that would be acceptable.
Well,
okay.
Well,
wouldn't you think that the Battleship Texas event would benefit the Battleship Texas?
I would think that, Don, but Apparently not.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Anybody who knows them.
Stay
have them give
tuned,
us a
as
call.
they
I
say.
obviously have gotten myself all worked up
you are.
over
You're really
facts that I am not
fatigued.
really too sure about.
You're in a tizzy.
You're really fachatted. Wow.
He's verklempt.
Verklempt.
Somebody from Long Island would know that.
We know
phrase.
that. Yes, we know that word.
Yeah. It's like butter.
And you know what? Verklempt is such a great word because it really explains exactly how people are.
Verklempt.
Oh,
Like Don.
boy.
You know, you learn so much in this. People that listen to this station, they
It is.
learn
This
so
is
much.
an educational thing.
No question
And
about it. Yep.
I guess really we should be over on public radio.
A font of
NPR
useless
should, yeah,
data.
take, definitely. Oh, yeah.
News 88.7, I think it is.
I don't-
KUHT.
Be on NPR.
NPR. Yeah.
Well, you know, the other guys died.
Who?
Click and clack.
Both of them died?
I think both of them are dead now. But I think they're
Well,
still.
we don't
There's an
really want to
opening.
follow them that close.
There's that. Sponsored by your local mortuary.
Hello.
Hello.
People are just dying for our business.
Dial in the music.
That's it. So, Mr. Stien,
Yes.
Mr. Ron Stien is
Here we
in the
go.
studio with us this morning. See, you wanted to come to the show to be entertained live and in person, I could tell.
I look forward to this. It's too long since I've been here, but you guys have been very busy.
Well,
and so
we've
have
been
I,
trying
you know.
to get you here.
I know.
But every time we try, I've got this event. Well, no, I'm going to be up in
Long Island,
No,
La
no.
Coretta.
It's going to be somewhere up in Maine,
Cod.
Cape Cod, or
Oh.
whatever. Yeah, there's that.
Eating some chowder.
Chowder and clams and
steamers.
lobster.
Now, don't say
Steamers.
clams. It's steamers.
And friendly ice cream
Okay.
All of
and
that.
and Cape Cod potato chips from the factory.
Do they actually have a that's not purchased by Frito-Lay?
No, it's in Hyannis. It's their own plant. I've been there.
Because you can buy them here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Cape Cod.
Cape Cod potato chips. Anywho,
Well, Mr. Stien, we the top of this past hour, the top of this hour. This is what happens when I'm off for 2
when the big
weeks.
hand is on the 8.
Well, it's no hand. It's a digital
Oh,
clock.
yeah, digital.
That's what's throwing them off.
Right.
Digital clock that doesn't tell the correct time.
Right.
But at any rate,
Okay. It's right twice a day, though.
somewhere along the line. We were talking about your new purchase and the 56 or 7?
56.
The 56
Continental
Mark II. I did not know that car was that built in 56. I did not know that.
Well, it's air conditioned, power steering, power brakes, huge engine.
A very unique look for a 56, where everybody looks at a 56 as being kind of a tall boy with bulb fenders.
Oh, this is an amazing car.
Right.
You need to send that to Mr. Mars.
We'll put it up on Facebook.
Here's a car that's not my car, but I've got the clone of that.
It's one looks like it.
Yeah.
So get that off of there. Cancel that. So let's put this up right here. Can you see that?
Yeah, you can get closer.
I can get closer. Well, there's such a delay on this thing. I really can't.
That car, the car that you're looking at now,
Yes.
is
Nice shot.
I don't know if that's the original car. William Clay Ford had a special car built for his wife, and it was shown at the Texas State Fair in 1956 as a present. And it was white with a blue and white interior.
Red, white, and blue interior?
Right. And she said, I love the car. It's gorgeous, but I really don't like that color combination. It's a little too racy for me, with a red and white interior. So they took it back to the special assembly line. They took all the great craftsmen from all the assembly lines from Lincoln, and they built a special assembly plant. Nowhere in this car does it say Lincoln. It's all Continental. And they brought leather from the Bridge of Ware, leather in England, because they raised their steers over there without barbed wire, so there's no punctures in the leather.
Right.
And they built the car in a special assembly line, only for the Mark II. They took the car out, drove it for 15 and 20 miles, brought it back to the assembly plant, disassembled the car, engine-wise, transmission, to see and mic'd it up, and put it all back together, just like today. Ha-ha. The car is actually gorgeous.
Yeah,
This car is a clone of the original one. I know the owner.
Let me have that pen.
Thank you.
It's
making clicking noises. I'm sorry.
Only when you click it.
Okay. Stop it. So
don't be nervous.
I've got a clone of that car. This is not my car, but my car looks exactly like it. This is not the car I bought. I bought a Continental Mark II coupe, and I had one, and I sold it to a club member. And now another club member was restoring a coupe, and that's the one I bought, not the convertible. I have a convertible, which is in storage.
And the coupe has a very formal roofline.
Yes.
It's not a what I'll call a slant back. It's actually got a pretty vertical rear glass.
It does, and it's a little taller than the cars of that era, but it's very stately. It's got the Frenched-in headlights.
Stately's a great.
Stately, and there's a little saying, a man is not known by the car he owns. Okay, and there's a picture of the Continental Mark II in black with white wall tires. So that's the car I bought. And the next time I come, hopefully, we'll have it ready, and I'll drive it here, and you guys can look at it.
But you said that it does not have air conditioning.
No, this does not have air conditioning. However, I have a method of putting air conditioning in original. The original air conditioning compressor was in the front, the condensing unit was in the trunk, and the air conditioning came through the headliner.
Up through some tubes.
Right, through hidden tubes in the headliner. Didn't come with those plastic things of that era that blew from the back.
Okay.
And were not really very efficient.
So they did a much better job of integrating it.
Oh, yeah. This is a $10,000 car, which was handmade.
$10,000 at the time.
At the time. Oh, yeah.
56.
Yeah.
Where $10,000 would have bought a house.
So
a Cadillac and two Chevys.
So you have the pieces and the parts to put a factory air in.
I do. In fact, the compressor is in, the condensing unit I've got to get. And interesting, my convertible has a condensing unit in the trunk. Who needs a air conditioning unit in a convertible? So I'm going to take the condensing unit from the trunk and put it in the coupe.
But the coupe didn't come from the factory.
It did.
Oh, it did?
It did. Some of them did.
It was an option.
Yeah. And you can tell because on the back of the fenders, there's a little nostril. It's like an opening.
A vent.
A vent that came through to feed the air conditioning.
Okay.
It looked like almost like a Batmobile.
So if you know the car, you can look at it and see if it's an air conditioned car or not. Yeah. For me, it would just look like brake ducts.
Well, the early 57s, they did away with the nostrils, which was so beautiful, and they put a duct in the front by the radiator to suck air in. But I like the nostrils. That's one of the things that I really don't like about the coupe, but it's a nice car. You'll see it.
And the only real difference is you won't be able to go R12. You'll have to go 134A
exactly.
or the new XYZ 123.
Yeah, the newer
yeah,
ones.
just,
Yeah.
It's
cool.
What?
Well, the air conditioning way back then would have had different chemistry inside of it that was changed in the 80s.
In the 80s, because it was polluting the air.
Ozone. Hole in the ozone that they said existed, but really doesn't.
Which is happening in older homes, too.
Oh, yeah.
If you've got an older air conditioner in your home, they're not making the fluid
refrigerant
very available.
You got to have a special license to get it now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about the new Lincoln
Continental. You can't call it Lincoln.
It has no Lincoln on anywhere on it.
But that was its brand was Continental back there. Years ago, that was the Ford, Lincoln, Continental, Mercury.
Yeah, but nowhere on the car does it say Lincoln. It doesn't say Lincoln Continental. It just says Continental.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
So was Continental a standalone brand?
Well, no, it was part of the Lincoln company, but it was a standalone. They had a separate assembly line.
Yeah, so it was standalone.
It was his own brand, but it was within the Ford cadre.
I understand that, but it was its own brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Well,
and then it was enveloped into Lincoln in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, 60s. Continental. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Didn't know that.
We learn something new every day.
A little history.
Apparently so.
That's why I'm here.
I know, and we certainly appreciate that. Ron Stien, our master brainiac when it comes to all things antique and collectible.
That's a compliment.
Well,
it was meant as one.
Yeah. All right, time now for Jeep Trails, In Wheel Time's weekly look into the world of Jeeping, and Mr. Mars has that.
When you buy a new Jeep, you know, whether it's the Wrangler or the XJ, the LJ, any of them that are in that category of the Wrangler, you're going to get a hard top 9 times out of 10. You can special order a soft top, but basically you're going to get a hard top. But when the summer comes, when it's hot out there like it is right now, people start wanting to take the top off. But you don't want to get all the way off. So that's where you get into all the different types of soft tops that you can get.
Bikini tops.
Bikini tops. They also call them briefs or safari tops. And you can actually, there is 20 different tops that I found, or configurations of soft tops that you can get, including something that if you have the hard top, you can just replace a piece of that hard top. You know, like the new XJs come with a 3-piece hard top, kind of like panels. Well, you can replace just the front with a what I would call a bikini top, but a canvas. Or you can take the larger piece off and put the canvas there and keep the firm fiberglass right above your head. There's like 20 different tops that you can get in a soft top configuration for your Jeep to get through the summer.
I'd want to have one of each kind, depending on my mood for the day.
Oh, boy.
Have to have a pulley system in your garage. Well, just lower them right on the car as you pull out. You just pull
well,
it out
and I think
go
that's why they went with even the hard top now is 3 pieces, so it's a little easier to manage without having.
And you got more configurations. You can take off part of it. You can take off all of it. You know, if you really want to go topless, you can just really get down to it.
Take the doors off, take the top off, and all it is a roll cage and a windshield.
What else do you need?
All right, just ahead, Conrad's Car Clinic, the event calendar, and stories making automotive news headlines this week. It's all coming up next here on the In Wheel Time radio program on SportsMap 94.1 FM.
There's a moment in your bones when
At the Jeep Celebration event, it's time to celebrate the most awarded and best-selling SUV lineup. Take in the fresh air with the Jeep brand's freshest lineup of SUVs, including the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the reimagined Jeep Cherokee. Help make each day one for the books with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Soak up some sun through Jeep Renegade's available MySky open-air dual-panel roof. And freedom is always at your fingertips at a Jeep Compass, offering the most technology and connectivity in its class. Because no matter where your imagination takes you, Jeep vehicles were made to get you there. Hurry into your dealer now and get a great deal at the Jeep Celebration event. Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Jeep SUV brand have received more awards over their lifetime than any other SUV or SUV brand, based on total Q1 2018 SUV sales, based on compact SUV segmentation. OEM website Auto Knowledge. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Hey, it's Houston's #1 car show, In Wheel Time, live on SportsMap 94.1 FM. Thank you for riding with us this morning. There's a little Elvis for you, Ronnie. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. What are you going to talk about? You haven't done the car clinic in a while.
Well, yeah, I've kind of done it, but we've done it. It was built around Jeep since we were down there at Go Topless. But, you know, one of the things you need to do just to make sure your car is safe is put some eyeballs on your brake fluid, kind of. You know, look at it and pay attention to it. When it comes to safety, the brake fluid is almost as important as your tires. Your brakes are hydraulically activated, and the fluid is a very high-temperature hydraulic fluid that can degrade over time and can lead to reduced braking performance or, in extreme cases, a complete brake failure. So your brake fluid should be kind of translucent, and the reservoir, which is kind of right in front of the driver underneath the hood, you can see into it so you can kind of see the level that the fluid is. So you want to look at it, you want to inspect it. First thing, for the color. It should be clear in color, and the reservoir should be kind of near the full mark. As the brake fluid ages, some brake fluids turn green, and I'll explain that in a second, but a lot of other brake fluids turn brown and then black. and it actually to the point where it can actually stain that translucent reservoir that it sits inside. So if the fluid is discolored, you want to take it to somebody who knows how to do a quality brake flush, get all the old funky fluid out and fill it with fresh new fortified fluid. And that's something you should do on a regular basis. And many manufacturers require you to flush the brake system on it every 2 or 3 years. You want to check the corrosion level in the brake fluid because as the brake fluid becomes corrosive, it absorbs copper within the system. And there are dip strips that you can use that are going to tell you the copper content of the brake fluid, and that copper content is determined by how purple that little dip strip turns. And if it's a quality shop, they'll have those copper testing dip strips because as the fluid becomes corrosive, it can do some damage to the ABS system. And that damage to the ABS system can be very expensive very fast. But one of the things to be aware of, if brake fluid is low, there's a reason. If the system isn't leaking, the reason your brake fluid becomes low in the reservoir is because your pads are wearing out. As the pads wear out, the fluid, it takes more fluid to get the pads to squeeze on the rotor.
So it kind of fills the lines?
Yeah, it fills the, as the pads fill out, the pistons move in on the calipers.
So it just takes more.
So it displaces that wear in the pad. Right.
Never thought of that.
So it's a good indicator if your fluid's getting low that you may have pads that are worn out. You need to get it in and get it checked at that point as well. But you want to make sure you're looking at what's going on with the fluid. The reason brake fluid turns green as it gets old is because it absorbs copper. And that copper, what color does copper turn when it corrodes? Kind of like the Statue of Liberty.
Where's the copper come from?
It comes from inside the metallized lines and within the ABS unit.
That's copper?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of copper in it because the metallized lines are actually, if you looked at them, they're kind of like a candy cane that's been brazed together, and that's where it leaches copper out of inside the metallized lines.
You're so dang smart.
I know. I thought they were some sort of steel.
That's what I thought they were, just plain steel.
Well, they have to make the metal out of something that's kind of anti-corrosive as well. But it's just leaching copper ions, very minuscule amounts of it, but it's
so
a measurable amount.
It's a mixture of copper that's in. Makes sense to me.
Kind of like the Statue of Liberty.
Exactly.
Patina.
Except it's not from the French. So it won't surrender. No, I'm sorry. I digress. But, if your brake fluid looks funky, take it to somebody who can change the fluid out for you and put some fresh new fortified fluid in.
We don't want no funky brake fluid. Time now for the events calendar, and Conrad has that also.
Well, kind of a quick shout out as it's ending is Coffee and Cars at Memorial City ends at 10 o'clock this morning, but also Cars and Coffee for Charity at the American Legion in Livingston, Texas. That goes on until 10 o'clock as well, this is their inaugural event, their first time of having it. So we've got events going on the north side and on the south side. And then tonight, again, Nifty 50s Cruise In, which is at the Woodlands Randall Shopping Center at 2250 Buckhorn Place in the Woodlands. And welcome back to Randy Shannon. So we've got one on the north side. On the east side, there's Squad Night at Barney's in Humble. That's 19333 East Tex Freeway. And then on the southwest side is the Saturday night at Otto's Barbecue in Stafford there at the Fountains. And then if you really want to go way to the east side, Buc-ee's has their Baytown car meet, and that's from 9 to midnight tonight. And then Sunday is Cars and Coffee for a Cause. That's at Market Street in the Woodlands from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the purpose of this event is the Woodlands Car Club gets together with the Market Street Association, and they do it as a fundraiser for various Montgomery County-based charities. And all the proceeds
that's 7 to 11 tomorrow?
7 to 11 a.m. in the morning. And that'll be June 3rd.
Tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Huh. How do I get involved in that?
Show up.
Okay, I might.
And again, it's right there on Market Street in the Woodlands.
All right, just ahead here on In Wheel Time, this week's news headlines, and boy, we got some doozies for you. Stay with us here on Sports Map 94.1 FM.
No matter what you do in Texas, you only have one job: to make sure that everyone counting on you always can. The all-new Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and Lone Star are built for Texas. Powered by an available, proven 5.7-liter Hemi V8. For work or play, these are the strongest, most capable, advanced, and luxurious Ram 1500s ever. Ram, built to serve. When properly equipped, Ram and Hemi are registered trademarks of FCA US LLC.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
It's In Wheel Time on Sports Map 94.1 FM. Time now for the stories making automotive news headlines. What are you guys doing? Really? Okay. Well, from automotive news, Sergio Marchionne, who's the head of FCA, Fiat Chrysler, had a big hoop-de-doo shout-out yesterday to everybody. And he said, many things about the company. And among its product plans, the company focused on 4 brands. Listening to this, Mars?
I am.
Jeep, Ram, Alfa Romeo, and Maserati. There's no mention of Dodge in there. No mention of Fiat. Saying it would electrify much of its lineup, offering new battery electrics, and move into new segments with new vehicles like a midsize Ram pickup, a third-row Grand Cherokee, and a Maserati midsize crossover. Maserati plans to add 32 dealerships in North America by 2022 and will aim squarely at Tesla with a new high-performance plug-in electric hybrid sport coupe based on the Alfieri concept. I'm not familiar with it. New brand head Tim Kuniskis said. I didn't know that Tim Kuniskis is the new head over there, but apparently he is. Ram will bring a production model of its 2015 Ram TRX off-road pickup to market.
Oh, cool.
Aiming squarely to take on the popular Ford F-150 Raptor, according to Ram brand head Mike Manley. Manley also promised that Ram would enter the midsize pickup race soon, joining the Chevy Colorado, GMC Canyon, and the return of the Ford Ranger. He did not say if the new midsize pickup would revive the Dakota nameplate used when pickups were under the Dodge brand.
If they pull that TRX out like the concept, that's going to be an awesome vehicle.
Jeep will expand its model portfolio in North America, electrifying all of its vehicles in some way, and then open a subscription service and other sharing options to allow its fan base access to those vehicles. Jeep brand head Mike Manley told investors that the marquee plans to expand its global lineup into the smaller A-segment market, a move it's considered for several years. Jeep also will broaden its portfolio in North America with a new 3-row version of the Grand Cherokee, as well as a return of the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer.
About time they brought their Wagoneer back.
Manley said the brand will electrify all of its vehicles in the portfolio in some fashion by 2022, with 10 plug-in hybrid versions and 4 full electric models by 2022. The brand will also launch subscription and mobility services in North America to allow Jeep fans full access to its models. Jeep will also begin offering use-based insurance, important for off-roading, and fleet management for the first time.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that.
That's huge news.
It really is.
I know.
Because
that's why I put it up top.
It's like RV insurance and everything else.
And speaking of Fiat Chrysler, FCA is recalling 4.8 million U.S. vehicles over a defect that could prevent drivers from deactivating cruise control. And FCA is warning owners not to use the function until they get a software upgrade. The automaker said no injuries or crashes are related to the large recall campaign, but said it had one report of a driver of a 2017 Dodge Journey rental car being unable to deactivate the cruise control. The recall addresses what Fiat Chrysler called an extremely rare series of events They could lead to drivers being unable to cancel the cruise control, an electronic device that allows the vehicle to maintain constant speed without driver intervention. Now, if the cruise control can't be deactivated, what would you do? You'd put it in neutral and turn the engine off, wouldn't you?
No.
Or either that or step on the brakes. Well, that's what I would do.
Well, I could see putting it in neutral.
You may do something else.
Well, I could see putting it in neutral and stepping on the brakes. But if you turn the engine off, you start locking up steering wheels and stuff.
Well, you also lose brake assist.
Whatever. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said on Friday it strongly encourages vehicle owners to follow a warning to stop using cruise control on the recalled vehicles until repaired. NHTSA said drivers could overpower the system by forcefully applying the brakes until the vehicle stopped. Fiat Chrysler also said the vehicle could be stopped by shifting into neutral and braking. Fiat Chrysler said that at times, cruise control systems automatically initiate acceleration to help vehicles maintain driver-selected speeds, yes, including when going uphill. If an acceleration occurs simultaneously with a short circuit in a specific electrical network, a driver could be unable to deactivate the function. The recall involves a group of gasoline-powered vehicles with automatic transmissions from various model years built from 2014 through 2019. Find out if yours is in that recall by going to safercar.gov and put in your VIN number.
And don't use your cruise control. In the meantime, turn it off.
That's it for this hour of In Wheel Time. Hour number 2 of our show starts after a quick break right here on Sports Map 94.1 FM.
There's a moment in your bones when
At the Jeep Celebration event, it's time to celebrate the most awarded and best-selling SUV lineup. Take in the fresh air with the Jeep brand's freshest lineup of SUVs, including the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the reimagined Jeep Cherokee. Help make each day one for the books with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Soak up some sun through Jeep Renegade's available MySky open-air dual-panel roof. And freedom is always at your fingertips at a Jeep Compass, offering the most technology and connectivity in its class. Because no matter where your imagination takes you, Jeep vehicles were made to get you there. Hurry into your dealer now and get a great deal at the Jeep Celebration event. Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Jeep SUV brand have received more awards over their lifetime than any other SUV or SUV brand, based on total Q1 2018 SUV sales, based on compact SUV segmentation, OEM website, Auto Knowledge. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
You're listening to Sports Map 94.1, your map to sports.
Live from the Galleria studios of Sports Map 94.1 FM, it's Houston's #1 weekly award-winning car talk show, In Wheel Time. Today, it's a rare appearance from antique and classic car expert Mr. Ron Stien, still wanted in the state of New York for loitering at the West Hampton drag strip on Long Island.
I didn't know you knew that.
Mike gives us his take on the Infiniti QX50. We'll have this week's Ram Tracks feature and the stories making automotive news headlines. That and more just ahead in hour number 2 of In Wheel Time for Saturday, June 2nd, 2018. Today's show is powered by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and by Jeep. The Jeep Celebration event is the perfect time to get out and celebrate capability, efficiency, connectivity, and more in a new Jeep brand vehicle. Hurry into your local dealer now to experience freedom and adventure in a way that only a Jeep can deliver and get a great deal. Good morning to you, along with Mike out of this world Mars and King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. In the master control room this morning, Jose Cuervo Partida, and thank you. It's good to see you again for doing what you do. He's not even in there, so whatever. We're glad that our in-studio guest today, Mr. Ron Stien,
Good
is
morning.
here.
Hi.
Good morning to you. It's great to see you.
Nice. People say, I'm glad you're here. I say, I'm glad I'm anywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
Just glad to be.
Yeah, just
Right.
glad to be. That's right. And I can relate to that.
Yep.
So, Mr. Stein's been talking about many things, including his new purchase of his 56 Continental.
Mark II.
Mark Dos. Mark II.
Right.
Was there a Mark I?
Yeah, well, the original one was, they never called it a Mark I, but that was the
Continental.
The Continental that William Clay Ford
Does that
designed.
Does that car exist?
Oh, yeah.
It still does. It's
well, the 40s, yeah. It was never called the Mark, but that was the predecessor
right.
of the Mark.
But the Mark II would have been
the evolution of the Mark.
Yes, of the original Mark.
Correct,
Mark
II.
The
Mark I basically was.
But it's Mark, M-A-R-K, not M-A-R-Q-U-E.
No, but now they say it's M-K, which is the old abbreviation of Mark.
Well, they're getting rid of all of that.
Yes, they are.
Thank God.
In fact,
way too confusing.
Yes. In fact, up until like 4 or 5 years ago, the signature of the Mark II was a little bump in the fender going up.
Right.
And they still had that in
design,
and now they eliminated that.
You know, I was looking at that car. You were showing me online pictures of the
two,
the
coupe.
What a stunningly beautiful car that is. And one thing that I noticed that I really haven't really picked up on before is the taillights on it very similar to Mercury taillights of the time. Do you remember those?
Yeah, oh, yeah, sure.
Do you agree?
I agree. And you know what? If you're looking for the gas cap, it's hidden. You have to pull the whole taillight assembly out, and it slides off.
Just like in the 55, 6, and 7 Chevys.
Correct. Yeah. But dual exhausts through the bumper.
And that spare tire bump in the trunk lid.
That's a Continental kit. That's where they got the term from.
The
Continental kit.
But you know, it is stunningly beautiful. It's not the add-on tire thing on the back of the bumper.
No. It was designed into the car.
Built into the trunk lid.
When you see the car, it's breathtaking. I rarely say that about cars.
But you just don't ever see those cars. No. You never see them.
Well, they only made 2,800 of them.
That's all.
The Mark IIs, yeah, in 2 years.
I think I've only seen one in my life.
And of the 2,800, how many convertibles?
Only one.
Oh, okay.
Only one.
Only one.
Mrs. William Clay Ford.
That was the only convertible they made.
Now there have been some clones like mine, and I bought a white. I looked for about 5 years for not a nice Mark II coupe to do a convertible. And I had the measurements. I was going to do the whole thing. And just before I did it, a guy called me from Oklahoma. He said, Ron, I saw your name in the Lincoln Continental Owners directory. And I heard you were looking for a convertible. He says, I have one. We started one, and we've done it. And that's the one I bought. And I
so you didn't have to cut the one you had?
I didn't want to cut a real good coupe because it's so rare and so beautiful.
So a lot of conversions. I mean, people basically make kits to do them with. Mm-hmm. That's a one-off. I mean, so that had to be hand done.
For Mrs. William Clay Ford, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, but even the guy that
you had yours.
Yeah, he took a coupe and he chopped the top. He took the top off.
So did it have a top that went up and down, or
the original one did?
But yours didn't.
Mine has a makeshift top. It's really the car really looks more ungainly with the cloth top on it. The metal top looks great because you saw the picture of it.
Right.
But the convertible, it looks a little bit ungainly. It doesn't look as stylish and I call it stunning. It's a stunning car when you see it, okay? And it just stands out. It's a piece of art. Okay. It's rolling art. But the one that I have, they chopped the top and they painted it the same color as Mrs. It's a clone of Mrs. William Clay Ford's, but it's a makeshift top.
They made a top.
They made a top to make it so if it was inclement weather.
Yeah.
But because of the
like
side
she was going to be driving an inclement weather.
Exactly. Yeah. And I knew the gentleman that bought that car from Ford, from Continental, I should say, Groppinger, and he lived in Iowa, and he since sold the car to a museum.
Interesting. So you also told me before we went on the air this morning at 9 o'clock that you've got an event coming up, a Triumph event.
Well, that was last month. It was.
Oh, it was last month.
Yeah, it was at La Torretta on Lake Conroe.
Oh, so you just wanted to talk about old news?
Well, no, I want to talk about something that's very dear to my heart because I feel very strongly about this.
Like me.
Old my heart. Okay, yeah, right.
Old and dear to your heart.
Yeah. If that makes you feel better, definitely done. Yes, definitely. I don't want you to feel left out of the conversation.
Thank you.
What's happening I belong to 5 car clubs. And what's happening, and every month when we go to a meeting or we go to an event, there's always what they call the Sunshine Report. I have no idea why they call it that, because it's the report of members who have passed, who are ill, whose car collections are up for sale, and the numbers of all the car clubs, not only local but national, the AACA and the CCA, etc., they're diminishing because we don't have members, young people coming into the fold. The youngsters, they want to get what I call rice burners, and they put a chip in the computer to make them go faster. They put loud mufflers on them, which we all hear, and they think that's hot rodding. They think that's doing something. I asked a few youngsters at the show, at the regional show, the Triumph show, where's the nearest junkyard? And they all looked at me. So I said, what's a junkyard? Well, that used to be our reservoir.
It was our parts supply.
That was our parts supply, okay? You needed a fender. You needed a rippled bumper. You went to a junkyard. You looked for a DeSoto.
Pick apart.
Bumper. Okay, pick apart, okay? There's no one picking up the slack.
You sound frustrated.
Oh, I am, because it's the history of the automobile. It's the history of the hobby and the camaraderie. And it's not only the cars that I'm involved with, but it's the people. As well any car show you go, you get involved with the people. So Hagerty, I think it's self-serving for them. They, as you said, are very interested in encouraging youngsters to get involved in the hobby. Because the more youngsters in the hobby, the more classic cars,
the more insurance
they're going to sell.
It's self-serving, but it's
self-serving, but for a good cause,
yes.
Because it's really preserving the history of the hobby. So what they've done is they have a program called Next Gen, G-E-N, Next Generation. And it's a program which promotes, through Hagerty, and they do a very good job of it, and we did it at the Triumph regional meet up in Lake Conroe last month. It's a youth judging program, and they link it to the schools. Schools that have a VOTEC program, they offer the hats, they offer the judging sheets, they offer the T-shirts, they offer literature, they offer amazing amount of material.
Trying to build interest
yes.
in the school kids of not necessarily the brand, but the task.
The task of getting them involved. And I went to the Conroe Independent School District, and they've got a great VOTEC program, and enlist the help of the VOTEC teacher and the VOTEC students, guys and girls, okay? And they welcomed us with open arms. They thought it was a great, great idea. The kids really rose to the occasion, and I also, in lieu with that, I also involved the audiovisual squad from the school to actually do like a task of actually visually and audio doing the documenting the kids doing the show, doing the program, doing the judging. Long story short, it was so successful because we wanted the young students to interact with the owners of the car. And people our age are sometimes a little hesitant to get involved with kids because it's like a different generation,
Oh, it is.
It is a different generation.
It's a couple of generations.
Well, the feedback we got, which we saw, with the kids interacting with the owners of the cars and judging them was amazing. The most important thing, I thought, was at the judging. We had professional judges come who are Triumph owners who judge cars in the different classes. The output of information and judging that the kids had, were in line almost exactly with the professional judges that judge the car. Our kids picked the winners of each class, independent of the regular judging, and they also picked the best of the best show, which they were in parallel with these kids who had never seen these cars before. And a lot of them said, which we hoped, and Hagerty hoped also, gee, this is a cool way. Maybe I don't want to go into fixing Camaros and Datsuns. Maybe I'd like to start a business through apprenticeship of going into classic cars or sports cars, etc. And there's a lot of interest. The school district gave us the field, the parking lot near the football field for our gymkhana, which was a race, low-speed race, endurance, and our fun canna, where you jump out of the car, you put a tennis ball on a pylon, you jump back in the car. Exactly. And they did that at the high school level. And the superintendent of schools and the assistant superintendent, the Dr. Clark and Mr. Ship, who ran the program, were thrilled. And Hagerty gave us their own trophies for the judging, and their own judging sheets, which I had to modify because the judging sheets that they gave were for younger kids. I had to modify it for kids who were juniors and seniors in the VOTEC program. That was a wonderful success. And I think that's going to be one of the things that will propel the clubs to remain viable, because we need young members. Gray hair, no hair, that's our members.
But you've got to spark interest. Your interest was sparked when you were young.
Yep.
So, and if there's nobody out there sparking their interest in this genre of cars,
correct,
the collectible British cars or whatever other clubs may want to engage, right, that becomes a lost art.
It is, and it worked. The bottom line is it sparked interest in the VOTEC program, the AV program of the schools, and the car owners themselves. They got a kick out of having kids. And most of them said, these kids really went over this car with a fine-tooth comb, and they asked very interesting questions. I gave a judging sheet to the shop teacher, okay, and to prep the kids on what they were to look for, how they would do it. The kids came, I said, collars with shirts, the Hagerty hats on straight, bill to the front, no
Look
shirts.
Nice.
Look nice, you're judges. And they appreciated that. They really did. And it was a wonderful success. And I'd like to do that with other car clubs.
So if you have a car club out there, you would like to engage in this activity,
right,
get a hold of us here at info@inwheeltime.com, and we'll connect you with Ron and put something together.
Ronnie, thank you for stopping by.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll talk with you again at the bottom of the hour. Hey, be sure and stay in touch with us all week long by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and through inwheeltime.com. Thanks for joining us this morning here on the all-new Sports Map 94.1 FM.
There's a moment in your bones when
At the Jeep Celebration event, it's time to celebrate the most awarded and best-selling SUV lineup. Take in the fresh air with the Jeep brand's freshest lineup of SUVs, including the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the reimagined Jeep Cherokee. Help make each day one for the books with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Soak up some sun through Jeep Renegade's available MySky open-air dual-panel roof. And freedom is always at your fingertips in a Jeep Compass, offering the most technology and connectivity in its class. Because no matter where your imagination takes you, Jeep vehicles were made to get you there. Hurry into your dealer now and get a great deal at the Jeep Celebration event. Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Jeep SUV brand have received more awards over their lifetime than any other SUV or SUV brand, based on total Q1 2018 SUV sales, based on compact SUV segmentation. OEM website AutoKnowledge. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
It's Houston's most in-depth radio car show, In Wheel Time, live on SportsMap 94.1 FM and live streaming right now on Facebook and on SportsMap 94.1 FM mobile app. Time now for this hour's car review. Mr. Mars has the Infiniti QX50.
The 2019 Infiniti QX50 Essential all-wheel drive. Now, Infiniti's done a little different with their levels here, their names. Base model is basically a Pure. Then you get up to the Luxe. Then you get up to the Essential model. And I have learned that there are mid-level trims of each of the three of these. But we're talking about a compact luxury SUV that will seat 5. And it kind of falls in between the 3-row QX60 and the smaller version of the QX30. And it's all new for 2019, except for the name. That's the only thing they really kept. So it's got a larger hood area exterior. It's got the boomerang chrome on the C-pillar. It's got a honeycomb grille up front. And it kind of gives the Infiniti badge kind of a floating look. It's what it kind of looks like if you look at it just right. And you got the LED headlights. You got fog lights, all the good stuff up front. We had the optional panoramic moonroof, not a sunroof, but a moonroof. We had the power lift gate, and we were rolling on some 20-inch optional wheels. 19s are standard, but these were the dark tinted, and it kind of gave it a little bit different look to it, a little bit more muscular look, a little broader stance. When you get to the interior, it's got a little more space than what it had last year. It's got the twin touchscreens up front that take a little bit of getting used to, but fortunately, it has all the redundant buttons down the sides, and it was real easy, real quick to start using those buttons instead of the touchscreen for me. Had the 8-way power seats up front that were heated, nice leather surfaces that you get when you step up to the essential trim level. Had some maple wood scattered out throughout the dash area. We had the heads-up display, and some of these heads-up display are basically just a speedometer, but some of them have got a lot more information there, and I like them whenever they've got more information. We also had the rear window side sunshades, which is something you don't see very often nowadays, but in the summer down here, is really nice to have it. And this vehicle was also equipped with the Pro Pilot Assist system that they've come out with. It's a really nice system. It's not really autonomous, but it's working on getting there. And that really needs to be a separate discussion because it gets so involved in it. Now, when you fold the seats down in the back, you've got 65.1 cubic feet of space to put all your cargo. Now, under the hood, it had the 2.0-liter variable compression turbo inline 4. Now, this is their new engine that Conrad and I were discussing it on the way in. It literally changes the compression ratio by varying the stroke of the piston. Now, he was trying to explain to me how that worked. I don't understand it yet. I can't visualize how a steel crank does this, but we're going to figure that out. They've been working on it for 20 years, and it actually received an award for the engineering of it at the Texas Auto Roundup recently held by the Texas Auto Writers Association.
A well-deserved award.
Yes. 268 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. And then, like I say, it took them 20 years to develop this thing. So it's backed by a CVT automatic transmission, and it will tow 3,000 pounds. Now, you kind of think because of the engine combination between the CVT and the variable stroke on the engine, but really it drove basically just like any other vehicle with a CVT in it. You step off into it, it kind of winds up, it gets going. And if you're out on the highway, the EPA says, well, the mileage on it, the EPA says in the city you should be looking for about 24, out on the highway 30. And I could get to 30 out on the highway. Now, in town, I didn't even bother to look because I was playing too much, having too much research there. But, so the engine itself is down a little bit on horsepower, but it's more than ample. And with the CVT, it's a very smooth, power-performing driveline. And it's become much more CUV ride-like than the SUV that the other one was, mainly because it's now front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which we had, instead of the rear-wheel drive. Now, if you're looking at something to compare it to in the base models, you're looking at an Audi Q5. Now, again, the pricing I got was on the 2018 models instead of the 2019 because it didn't have 2019s on all of them. But the Audi Q5 starts at $41,500. The BMW X3 is at $42,600. Volvo XC60 is around $41,500. Now, the base model on this QX50, you can actually get one down at around the $36,500 mark. I mean, you get down there and strip it down. But the MSRP for our test vehicle, that based on it, was $45,150, which is going to be more in line with some of these other vehicles. But the MSRP as tested is $55,200. And so if you're looking in that luxury segment there for a compact SUV, you ought to put this on your list. It's rather interesting.
Hey, it's In Real Time, Houston's most popular live and local car talk show. We've got a special father-son race team we're going to talk to. Coming up next here on the In Real Time radio show after a short break here on Sports Map 94.1 FM.
No matter what you do in Texas, you only have one job, to make sure that everyone counting on you always can. The all-new Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and Lone Star are built for Texas. Powered by an available, proven 5.7-liter Hemi V8. For work or play, these are the strongest, most capable, advanced, and luxurious Ram 1500s ever. Ram, built to serve. When properly equipped, Ram and Hemi are registered trademarks of FCA US LLC.
Is my kid in the right car seat? I guess she is.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In Wheel Time, Houston's most popular live and local car talk show. Joining us live on our telephone line. It comes right in here to the station. Matter of fact, we even got a dial on it, a real dial. Yeah, dating ourselves, I know. Half of the father-son race team, Mr. Barry Loman. Barry, good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Well, we're doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for asking.
Well, we talked to you today because, Father's Day is right around the corner, and I thought that this is kind of a neat deal. Father-son race team. You don't find too many of those around. At least I certainly have not. Tell me a little bit about that. A little background, please.
A little background. Growing up in a racing family, Dad always raced all kinds of things, and I was the little kid, wearing the pit shirt, running around carrying the fuel cans were my first job at about probably age 4. We did boats, we did bikes, we did drag cars, we did all kinds of fun stuff and traveled all over the United States. And then for a number of years, Mama intervened and said, you guys got to cool your jets, quit racing for a while all the kids grow up. So Dad struck a deal with Mom that once the youngest of my siblings was grown and out of the house, we could go back to racing, and that's exactly what we did. And my father and I, for the last 11 years, have participated in a sport called open road racing, and it's mostly an individual sport, but you can also do it as a driver navigator. It's kind of like time stage rally over very, very long distances. And so Dad and I started out together as a driver navigator father-son team. And after learning the sport and finding success, we've moved on to actually, sometimes we take turns who's going to be left seat or right seat, and sometimes we compete in our own vehicles. And even last season, we finally, at the final race of the year, competed head-to-head against one another in the same class for the first time ever.
Well, I understand.
We've had a lot of fun with it.
I understand that there was an event that you guys started off in a Corvette and then wound up in a Malibu and won it. Now, so is this a timed event or is this a speed event? Explain that to me.
It's both. It's time, speed, distance, and it's called open road racing, which is a bit of a misnomer. What it is there are 4 events per year. We've tied them into a series now to travel throughout the United States. There are sections of public highway that are closed for the day, so they essentially become a racetrack for a day, and we're talking about this most recent race was 120 miles long. You have a series of classes that are based on time targets. Now, we typically race in one of the faster divisions, the Grand Sport division, at the top of it in either 150 or 155 mile-an-hour time targets. That's why Dad and I both have Chevrolet Corvette Z06s. We've heavily modified both of the cars with safety equipment. We've also added a lot more power to them because, it's
because you want to go 155 miles an hour
on a public road.
Well, exactly. I mean, both of the cars are capable of running in the 220s.
Now, okay, all right, I got all that. I want to know how in the world this Malibu got involved in this.
This is a funny story, actually. So race 2 of our season just took place out in Nevada, a little town of Ely, Nevada. You can look it up. It's the Silver State Classic Challenge. They have 2 races a year, the May race, the Nevada Open Road Challenge. We've had quite a bit of success on this course. It was a new course for this year. It's typically 90-mile one-way. This year it was a 120-mile two-way course. So it's the longest of the courses that we run on, actually. 1 week before the event, Dad and I were going to do this one together since it was their first time to do a two-way, and we were going to switch seats at the midway point. I was going to drive the first leg. Dad was going to drive the second leg. And Wednesday night, right before we were to leave for the race. We had the car on the dyno, doing one final little tweak and dial in, and we blew the head gaskets out of the motor.
Right. Way to go.
Yeah, I know. And my Z06 was back here in Texas and not available. Here we are in Nevada. We've got a race the next day. And funny enough, since we were racing Dad's car, I had gone down to, we'll not name them, rental car company, and had actually rented a car to drive out to Texas, just to not put wear and tear on my own vehicle. And I just happened to have rented a brand new 2018 Chevrolet Malibu, the LT version, which is one step above base.
Right.
Got a 4-cylinder in it, automatic transmission. It's essentially last year's Impala.
So I want to know the bottom line. How fast did you have the rent car going?
Well,
as fast as it could.
Needless to say, there was a little shakedown period. We'll say we took it to Mexico, but we didn't really. Yeah, on a closed course, we had a chance to shake it down before the race. We had to drop down speed classes, obviously, because we could not enter the Malibu in the 155-mile-an-hour class,
right?
For obvious reasons.
Clearly,
we did decide at the last minute after we'd registered the Malibu for the 105-mile-an-hour class. Another car became available. So my dad took the wheel of a brand new 2018 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray, just a base model.
Right.
So he didn't have a whole lot more power than I did compared to what we're used to. It sounds funny to say that, but it's true. So Dad was in the 110-mile-an-hour class, which is the fastest to let you go without any additional safety equipment. I was in the 105 because I've actually won the 110 there before, and I thought, hey, let's shoot for a different trophy if we can. We both ran solo. I drove the rental car. Now, in this type of racing, you're trying to get as close as you can on time. So I'm trying to go 120 miles and on two different stages, and I'm trying to average as close to a perfect 120 miles an hour, or X minutes and X number of seconds, and X number of tenths, hundredths, and even sometimes into the thousandths of a second. So,
just a long story.
In the race, all weekend we had fun with the car. We had all my sponsor decals on there. I mean, we had, we got Optima, we got G-Force, we got all these cool sponsors on the car.
And the rent car company.
People keep laughing at the car. They're like, what are you doing in this car? Is this a joke? I'm like, no, this is the new Chevrolet Malibu. I start calling it the Boo, the California Special. I said, watch out. It's the fastest, slowest car in the race, guys. And watch, the rental car is going to take the whole thing. It was a running joke all weekend long.
And you won the race.
We get to the banquet. They call it, you don't know exactly how you did for sure. You think you know based on your timing equipment, but you don't know for sure until they call out the names of the banquet. They call me up on stage for first place for the 105 class. They read off my time. I literally it took me, I was speechless for a moment, which if you know me, that's a rare occasion.
You choked on the pork chop.
Let me just tell you, the Malibu crossed the finish line in the pouring rain, by the way. It was raining so hard the last 2 miles of the race, and I drove that car right down the hill and right around the corner at 105 miles an hour, as close to perfect as you can. 0.0019 seconds time variance over 120 miles for a darn near perfect 105 mile an hour average. And Chevrolet would probably like to know that at 105 mile an hour average over 120 miles, the car got 19 miles to the gallon.
Yes.
And the speedometer was correct.
And the speedometer obviously worked well.
The speedometer was close. It was off 1 mile an hour, but fortunately I'd wired up a GPS speedometer in there, and that is accurate. That we use in marine racing. So.
Well, congratulations on your trophy.
Thank you. And the real kicker was, out of over 100 cars in the event, they also give out the award for the most accurate. And that's the person that wins the overall thing. And lo and behold, good old the rented 4-banger automatic Chevrolet Malibu won the entire Nevada Open Road. I beat the Ferraris, I beat the Lamborghinis, I beat the Maseratis. We beat everybody.
And you loved it. Yeah, I love it.
So did the show. Never give up, folks.
Hey, absolutely.
So did you return the car to the rental company with all the stickers on it?
We took all of the sponsor decals off. We almost forgot to take the fire extinguisher we mounted in out of it, but with the last minute, I went, oops, I got to take that out.
Barry, what a great story, and especially a father-son story. We're running short of time. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Let's talk again after your next race.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Barry Loman, with the father-son team. Incredible.
In the rental car.
In the rental car. Got to love it. Hey, you got a question for us here at In Wheel Time? Shoot us an email, info@inwheeltime.com. Our live broadcast continues after a quick break right here on SportsMap 94.1 FM.
At the Jeep Celebration event, it's time to celebrate the most awarded and best-selling SUV lineup. Take in the fresh air with the Jeep brand's freshest lineup of SUVs, including the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the reimagined Jeep Cherokee. Help make each day one for the books with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Soak up some sun through Jeep Renegade's available MySky open-air dual-panel roof. And freedom is always at your fingertips at a Jeep Compass, offering the most technology and connectivity in its class. Because no matter where your imagination takes you, Jeep vehicles were made to get you there. Hurry into your dealer now and get a great deal at the Jeep Celebration event. Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Jeep SUV brand have received more awards over their lifetime than any other SUV or SUV brand, based on total Q1 2018 SUV sales, based on compact SUV segmentation. OEM website Auto Knowledge. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Live from the palatial studios of SportsMap 94.1 FM, it's In Wheel Time, Houston's most popular weekly award-winning car talk show on the all-new SportsMap 94.1 FM. This special broadcast powered by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and by Jeep. The Jeep Celebration event is the perfect time to get out and celebrate capability, efficiency, connectivity, and more in a new Jeep brand vehicle. Hurry into your local dealer now to experience freedom and adventure in a way that only a Jeep can deliver and get a great deal. Good morning. Along with Mike Out of This World, Mars, King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong, and sitting across from us this morning, Mr. Ron Stien, expert extraordinaire and good friend of our program here, and it's good to see you again. Thanks for coming in with all the wonderful stories that you have to tell. So what is the next event that you have? You know, summertime's kind of a weird time for cars when it comes to car clubs and car shows, because so many people go on vacation, it's hot outside, and so there's this pause in the summertime, and most people, have the car in the garage, they're doing certain things, getting ready for the fall stuff.
Well, heat is not a friend of classic or antique cars. I mean, especially heat and humidity. So a lot of the clubs and events sort of wind down because, people don't want to prepare their car, or the car is not capable of running in the heat, and they don't want to be hot showing the car either. We are in a
I'm hot all the time.
Yeah, well, I know, Don, you're such a hot guy. So anyway, I really don't have anything planned. You're welcome.
You don't have anything planned?
Nothing planned.
Well, that's good.
Nothing planned. Just working on the cars.
I think that
more time to talk with us.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that you need to be working. Pick a car, one of the many that you have. Pick a car, and let's plan on it showing with us in the In Wheel Time Broadcast Center at this year's Autorama.
I'd love that. I think the Mark II.
That would be such a cool car to bring, though.
Because it's so rare, and when people see it, they go, "Oh, wow!"
Because it's a breathtaking design, especially when you tell them it's a 56, because it's so unusual in its design to 1956.
That's a deal. That's a date.
So let's shoot
that's a
for
date.
That. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So and it's white. Did you say?
No, the car I bought is a dark. It's a blue, a lightish blue. It's not the white.
Is it blue, kind of like the 37 Ford?
No. It's not a turquoise. It's a darker blue.
Like royal blue kind of.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, if you look at it in the right light, it almost looks black.
And the interior color?
Blue, a light blue, and sort of tan.
You're not gonna redo the interior?
No.
You just worry about the wiring underneath the dash.
Nightmare. Yeah. Need to be a.
And I assume that the windows are electric, and it's got a lot of electric in it.
Oh, it's all everything's electric. It's got tachometer, factory tachometer. Yeah.
And I cannot imagine them actually making such a thing as called retrofit wiring harness for this car?
Well, there is someone that makes them
on a per basis.
Correct. Yeah. When you have 2,800 cars, there's not a big demand for wiring harnesses, so it has to be made by Rhode Island Wiring. Has the color combination, and they have the original schematic. So they'll do it with the blue and white wire and red and green wire that goes.
So you could hack this into the system.
Yeah, and that's what we have to do. Basically, we have the harness pre-made, but now we have to get underneath it upside down
and actually splice it all in.
Well, you could take the dash out of it.
Oh my God, no!
No.
That's
they
a
don't
whole
come
other
out
story.
they don't come out as easy back then as they do today.
Exactly.
So it's time on your back, feet
upside
up
down,
in the air,
upside down,
arms
light shining in your eye.
in there. Right. Well, you need to get one of those baseball caps that have the LED brim
and limited space too.
Oh, very limited space.
Yeah.
So, been there, done that.
I think I would have to save up my money and hire somebody.
Well, that's what I did. A good friend of mine in the Lincoln Club, the Triumph Club, and he's younger and he's very agile and
very experienced.
He's not colorblind, which very important.
that can be a
green to
problem.
white and white to purple and blue.
Yeah. Well, how has it gotten so hacked up underneath there?
The fellow that was restoring it actually took the gauges out and had them redone.
Okay.
The faces of them.
All right.
So they had to disconnect the wires.
So there's no gauges in it now.
There's gauges in it, but now you got
they're not hooked up.
Right.
And he didn't label them, apparently.
Well, he didn't label them because he said that the harness he got was from a company that put the proper wires with the proper color coding to attach
and the
them back.
correct connectors.
Yeah. And he wanted a new harness because it was sort of, it's...
through the years
old.
it gets chopped up as people do different things
and,
to it.
Things get destroyed.
Well, not only that, but I can speak from experience on the 66 Corvair that after these many years, the wiring gets a little crisp.
Brittle.
shall
Oh,
we
yeah.
say.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
just don't let the smoke out of them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right. So we have nothing planned for the summer. We're shooting for an Autorama debut, because it would be a debut for this car at Autorama.
Correct.
And we'll try to get together for that.
Love it. That'll give me an impetus to get it done also.
Yeah.
That's Thanksgiving weekend, right?
That's right. So what are your plans for the summer? Are you going to go up to Cape Cod and do your usual?
Yeah, we've got the family home up there on 10 acres and our own boat with lobster traps, our own lobster traps, and sailing.
Do you really? You drop your own lobster traps?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
You're not invited.
We're on the water.
I was going to say, we could do a remote from up there.
Yeah, exactly. We could do that.
You wouldn't want to come back. No.
Yeah, at this time
a big old lobster and clam boil. I'm game.
But I don't know about that January, February, March weather up there.
Oh, I agree. I
That's
lived
why he
in that
lives
for
in
many
Texas.
years, and I went to college in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, gosh.
And
Buffalo.
I had my MG up there, and MG has got a 12-volt system, except for the two 6-volt batteries under the seats. So every morning I'd come out of the fraternity house, open the hood, squirt a little ether in the dual carbs, close the hood, and actually hand crank it, because you couldn't crank it with batteries. And people would come and say, what kind of car is this, and how come you can't start it with a key? I said, well, it does, but it's a long story, so I got a full of the lake effect.
In Buffalo, you can listen to an MG rust.
Yeah, exactly. With the salt and the sand and all the residue from the plants coming down from the sky. The snow is white for about 3 hours, and then it's tan.
And it's all lake effect snow.
Oh, big time.
So I have to ask you, have you ever spent any time at West Hampton Dragway or Speedway?
Not only that, yes, and also at Bridgehampton.
Road course.
Road
way back.
Yeah.
That's right, because are you a Long Islander?
No, I'm Westchester County.
Okay, so he's a Yankee. Yeah.
Damn Yankee.
Well, I was thinking about what I introduced you as at the top of the hour, and I thought, well, I'm going to do a little research on that. And apparently that track had quite a history.
Oh, yeah.
And it went back to the early days of drag racing.
Well, yeah, Tappet Frick was there, and the old Bridgehampton.
West Hampton in Long Island.
You said Tappet Frick?
Tappet Frick. It was a racing team.
Yeah, that's one.
And they had Cat Allards they raced. And,
that's a Cadillac Allard.
Yeah, an Allard with a Cadillac engine in it. We could do a little bit
Come
of
on,
history
Mars.
on me.
Get with it, brother.
Well, if you have a minute?
Yes, we're waiting. Go ahead.
Senior year in high school, I was the president of the Long Island Timing Association, a hot rod club. Okay, I get a note that a couple of people want to see me at the Hilton in Meadowbrook, Long Island, at the Hilton Hotel, and I come there, and they want to promote safe drag racing. And who is it? Wally Parks, Iskandarian.
Ed Iskandarian.
Yeah. Peterson Publishing, Crocker helmets, and Bell helmets, and Crocker of Timing. And they wanted me to be a representative of a new organization called the National Hot Rod Association. And they had a real thin book called Hot Rod Magazine. And they wanted me, they wanted
you to invest.
No, they wanted me to be the spokesman for safe drag racing, okay? Because they came from California, the Hot Rod Safari, 1955.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to my dad. I said, Dad, these guys want me to work with them to promote hot rodding.
Basically be the East Coast rep.
Yeah. And my father said, a bunch of hot rod guys like you, got an education, go to college. And, of course, I was a good son, quote, unquote, and I went to college. Well, each one of them became millionaires. Peterson Publishing, Crocker Timing, Iskandarian Cams.
And then there's you.
And then there's me. Okay.
With your collection of 16 cars, including a brand new Mark II.
Exactly. Okay. So that was...
to rival the Peterson Museum.
And the next time I come, I'll bring some of the timing sheets. We went to Bricktown, New Jersey, Manassas, Virginia, because that's where we could drag at the time. And
Englishtown.
I dragged in West Hampton. And we went to a junkyard, and we got an old police cruiser that was supposed to be turned back into Ford, and we took the supercharger off it. We borrowed it. It was a McCullough centrifugal supercharger for our flathead 85 horsepower engine with, Edelbrock heads and dual exhausts, etc. And I dragged with the big boys, some of the big boys that made their name in racing after that, and all over the country. We would get to our little Ford camper, and not camper, it was a Ford like a bakery wagon,
bread wagon,
pie wagon they called it, and we towed the little. And this is before scatter shields. This is before we had the engine in front of us instead of back of us. The old slingshots.
Yeah.
Okay, 85 horsepower.
Yeah. Well, and leather helmets.
Well, not leather helmets, but no roll bars.
Oh yeah.
Okay, no roll bars. We did have to have safety belts.
Yeah, it had to be kind of interesting straddling the transmission
right there,
with the front engine without a scatter shield.
I got in one. The guy down the street was building an alcohol, and Garlett's actually signed his license. But anyway, he let me sit in his slingshot type, and the rear end pumpkin.
Yeah,
is between your knees.
Yes. And that,
you put your legs up over the axle housings, and you sit there and you go, you think if this thing
how
comes
strong is the diff?
Well,
exactly.
not only that,
if that thing comes apart, Mama.
That was before the regulation. If you had to have a
loop,
a metal
around
scatter shield.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was. I have pictures.
That's how they learned to add those regulations. As something went wrong and somebody got hurt, we add a new regulation.
Right.
That's why the book's so thick now.
So much for coming by, man.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate it. Always appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Time now for our Ram Tracks feature in Wheel Time's weekly look into the Ram Nation.
Yes, we're always talking about the Uconnect system within the FCA world and Ram in particular. One of the things they've got coming out, and we're going to have a chance to see one, is the big 12-inch monitor that's going to be in their trucks. But beyond that, the things that they've got that you can do with that Uconnect system, and one of them is what they call their Sirius XM Guardian package that you can get with this. And it's like a smartphone, a smartwatch that adapts to it. But the things that you can do with this thing, You can set your navigation system with your phone. You can start your vehicle with your phone. You've got all kinds of things like SOS on the rearview mirror that will tie into it. And this system will let you literally pull a health report of your vehicle while you're sitting in your living room, because you can do it off the app tied into the Uconnect system. I mean, it's very impressive, the things you can do. Technology is our friend today.
We're going to talk about Avanti next here on In Wheel Time on SportsMap 94.1 FM.
No matter what you do in Texas, you only have one job: to make sure that everyone counting on you
It doesn't even
always
ring.
can.
It goes straight to voicemail.
The all-new Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and Lone Star are built for Texas. Powered by
It
an
doesn't even
available,
ring. It just
proven
goes straight to
5.7-liter Hemi
I'm gonna keep going
V8
on.
for work or play. These are the strongest, most capable, advanced, and luxurious Ram 1500s ever. Ram, built to serve. When properly equipped, Ram and Hemi are registered trademarks of FCA US LLC.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Hey, if you ever want to get in touch with us, info@inwheeltime.com. Send us an email. You can send us a dirty email if you want to. We don't have a filter on it.
Some of us don't have a filter at all.
That's true.
Pay me
Time
now
now
or
for-
pay me later.
Time now for the weekend racing card, Mr. DeLong.
Well, out at Houston Raceway Park, this weekend is bracket racing series for NHRA. So it's the 8th mile bracket guys. I'll give a shout out to a couple of my friends that I know are out there running. Rick Mortimer drives a 55 Chevy. And you guys all have fun. I know it's great. And if you're looking for a fun place to go on out to Houston Raceway Park in Baytown and check out the bracket racing. They still have Friday night street legal racing out there at Houston Raceway Park. Houston Motorsports Park, they have Friday night street fights, and then they're going to have their shootout Saturday in the park. Today, the gates open at 4 p.m., and that is a small tire and big tire, no prep shootout, 8th mile drags. The Isle of Man TT motorcycle racings is going on right now, and you can see segments of that on TV. Next weekend is Formula One in Canada. Indy cars are this weekend in Detroit, along with IMSA and Trans Am. Pocono is NASCAR is at Pocono, and next week NASCAR is in Texas, and NHRA is in Chicago.
And sometime in the future, they're going to have the Isle of She-Man motorcycle racing. Just saying. I heard that rumor. Anyway, we've got...
like I said, there is no filter here.
Politically correct.
That's right. Well, we got to, spread the wealth,
Shim,
so to speak.
is what it is. It's a shim.
A shim. All right. Coming up next, we got today's automotive news. Next, here on In Wheel Time on SportsMap 94.1 FM.
He gave you a different number. You want me to try it?
At the Jeep Celebration event, it's time to celebrate the most awarded and best-selling SUV lineup. Take in the fresh air with the Jeep brand's freshest lineup of SUVs, including the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the reimagined Jeep Cherokee. Help make each day one for the books with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Soak up some sun through Jeep Renegade's available MySky open-air dual-panel roof. And freedom is always at your fingertips in a Jeep Compass, offering the most technology and connectivity in its class. Because no matter where your imagination takes you, Jeep vehicles were made to get you there. Hurry into your dealer now and get a great deal at the Jeep Celebration event. Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Jeep SUV brand have received more awards over their lifetime than any other SUV or SUV brand, based on total Q1 2018 SUV sales, based on compact SUV segmentation. OEM website AutoKnowledge. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
It's In Wheel Time on Houston's most important radio station, SportsMap 94.1 FM. Well, at least we thinking that it's the most important one because we're on it. So time now for stories making automotive news headlines this week. So, what's the story with Avanti?
We will reschedule. He's on the road and hadn't had car, radio, or phone service. So,
well, that's brilliant.
We'll fix it.
Okay. So, sorry if you were staying tuned for the Avanti story. It's been postponed because we couldn't get a hold of the roadman, Mr. Avanti. Time now for automotive news. Stories making news headlines this week. Regulators, this is the political segment, so if you're into politics, you might want to listen up.
The Russians did it.
Regulators have sent proposals to roll back automobile efficiency standards to the White House for review, a key step in what's likely to be a contentious debate over the future of the signature Obama-era environmental regulation. The National Highway Traffic Safety and Corporate Fuel Economy Standards to the White House's Office of Management and Budget on Wednesday. Details were not disclosed in the brief notice that was posted Thursday on OMB's website. The proposal was jointly developed with the Environmental Protection Agency. A leaked draft of NHTSA's proposals for the new standards recommended freezing mileage requirements at 37 mpg from 2020 through 2026. That would be a significant reduction from the roughly 50 mpg fleet average by 2025 target by the current rules enacted by the Obama administration.
Making owning a car great again.
There's that story. The Trump administration announced it's imposing tariffs on steel and aluminum imported from the European Union, Canada, and Mexico, a move immediately condemned by America's closest allies. The EU said it would take immediate steps to retaliate, while Mexico vowed to impose duties on everything from U.S. flat steel to cheese. Mexican cheese. Okay?
Cheese.
Canada's government announced plans to impose tariffs on U.S. steel, aluminum, and other products effective July 1st. That will stay in effect as long as the American tariffs stay in place. Nanny, nanny, boo, boo.
Hey, this is just a negotiating position for Trump. You know, he understands the art of the deal, and he's going to win for America.
BMW said yesterday it may increase the amount of steel it sources locally for its U.S. plant after Washington imposed the tariffs.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Funny how those things work, isn't it? A German automaker's plant in Spartanburg is its largest in the world and sources more than 70% of its steel locally. More news after this quick break.
No matter what you do in Texas, you only have one job: to make sure that everyone counting on you always can. The all-new Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and Lone Star are built for Texas. Powered by an available, proven 5.7-liter Hemi V8. For work or play, these are the strongest, most capable, advanced, and luxurious Ram 1500s ever. Ram, built to serve. When properly equipped, Ram and Hemi are registered trademarks at FCA US LLC.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
In real time, we're doing automotive news from automotivenews.com, and this is a story that I should have probably led with. Nissan North America is the first automaker to partner with Milk Stork, the only breast milk shipping company in the United States, in an effort to make working moms' lives a bit easier. The automaker is now offering a shipping benefit for employees working and traveling in the U.S. and Canada with Milk Stork, so employees can expense the shipping costs of nursing mothers' breast milk while they are traveling on the job. I swear to God, I did not make this up.
Hey, do you think texting and driving is bad?
Milk Stork ships packing materials in a pharmaceutical-grade cooler in advance so a nursing mother have the necessary supplies when she arrives at her business travel destination. Once activated, they don't say what's being activated. Oh, yes, they do. Once activated, the cooler can keep its contents chilled for up to 72 hours. The employee can drop the cooler off at a hotel front desk or a FedEx shipping location when ready to be overnighted to their baby.
Nothing worse than cold breast milk.
He did that with a straight face.
Well, and we're going to end the show on that note. In Real Time, presented by Jeep and Ram. You can follow us all week long just by liking us on Facebook. And while you're online, sign up for our feeds on Twitter and Instagram and visit our website in realtime.com where you can download our show podcast. Special thanks to Mr. Ron Stien. For Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Canning in the sun-baked control room is Jose Cuervo Partida. Thank you for being you, and don't go changing to try to please me any more than you already do. Be sure to join us next Saturday morning, 9 to 11, for the next live edition of In Wheel Time, the radio show, here on Sports Map 94.1. Thanks for listening. Stay cool and have a great, safe weekend.
This is Sports Map 94.1. This is Sports Map 94.1. Your map to Houston's